Hello students, myself Vikas Tiwari welcomes you to channel MAP World of Physics. In the first 4 lectures, we have already discussed with the basic tools of circuit analysis. What were the basic tools of circuit analysis? Just I am telling you once again, just I am reviewing you about the KVL we have already discussed. Then we have already discussed about KCL. Third one that we have already discussed about nodal analysis, and after that we have discussed mesh analysis. So these are the basic 4 tools that we have already discussed, and the remaining of the tools just I am going to take, and that is today I'll take regarding voltage division and current division. Okay, so just I am going to discuss with voltage division, current division, okay, and with the concept of open circuit and short circuit, and finally we will discuss source transformation. Okay, so this we have already discussed: KVL, KCL, nodal, mesh, source. Just I'll complete it: source transformation. Okay, so this I have already discussed with KVL, KCL, nodal and mesh analysis. Out of this I have already told you that nodal analysis is the most important tool, and also the mesh analysis is also important for solving complex circuits. Okay, so today I will discuss with the voltage division theorem and current division theorem regarding that. Okay, so let us go with the concept of voltage division theorem. So what is voltage division theorem? Okay, so I'll say what is voltage division theorem, but just before proceeding, just I want to tell you voltage division theorem is applicable for series circuits. Okay, for resistances in the series circuits means when the resistances are in series, and the second one is that it is applicable voltage division theorem for two resistances, for two resistances. Okay, so let us start with how we are going to apply the voltage division theorem. Okay, so let us take, I am taking two resistances R1 and R2. R1 and R2, when these two resistances are in series, okay, and I will apply a voltage V across it. I have applied some voltage V across it, and the current flowing in this is I. Current flows in both the resistances is I. As we know, property of series circuits, that voltage across each resistance is somewhat different, okay, but the current in both the resistance is the same. This is the way we are identifying what are series circuits and what are parallel circuits. In parallel circuits, current is different in both the resistances while the voltage is same along both the resistances. So if I am saying R1 and R2, so how we are going to discuss is, so just if I want to say what is the value of V1, the value of V1 in terms of V. So what does this voltage division theorem says? What is voltage V1? V1 is voltage across R1. So I will put R1 and just in the denominator I will say R1 plus R2 into total voltage in terms of total voltage V. So this is the total voltage V has been divided across R1. Okay, and similarly if I want to say what will be the value of V2, the value of V2 is, put the value of R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into total voltage V. So I have discussed, just I have told you the voltage in terms of total voltage V, V1 and V2 in terms of total voltage V, that has been put here. Okay, so if you want what is the proof over there, so if I will say that what is the total R equivalent resistance equivalent resistance of this will be R1 plus R2. So if I will say what is the equivalent circuit, so this is R equivalent, okay, and the voltage across it is the same voltage, and this is the current I flowing across it. So what will be the value of current I? Value of current I is equal to, or what is the value of V? V is equal to I into R equivalent. From here, if I will say I into R equivalent is R1 plus R2 over here. So now from this circuit, if I want to calculate what is the value of V1, the value of V1 is I into R1. So from here, if I want to put the value of I will be V upon R1 plus R2. So put the value of I here. So we'll get R1 into I V upon R1 plus R2, which we can write it as R1 upon R1 plus R2 into total voltage V. Okay, so this is the value of V1 in terms of V. So this is the proof of this particular thing. Similarly, if I will say what is the value of V2, V2 is equal to IR2. IR2 means if I will put the value of R2, and what is the value of I is V upon R1 plus R2. So if I can write it R2 upon R1 plus R2 into total voltage V. Okay, so this is the value of V1 and value of V2 in terms of total voltage V. So this voltage V has been divided across the R1 and R2. That's why this theorem is called voltage division theorem. So in suppose just I will take some small example over here. If I'll say a 20 voltage battery is applied across the two resistance of 10 ohm and 20 ohm, and if I want to say what will the value of voltage across this 20 ohm, so I will say put the value of voltage. What is the voltage across 20? What is the resistance across this here? 20 upon sum of these two resistance, 20 plus 10 multiplied by 20. So we can say 20 upon 30 into 20. Okay, so it will say 40 by 3. So this is the voltage across this 20 ohm resistor. So this is the voltage across this 20 ohm. If I want to say what is the voltage across 10, then I will put 10 upon 20 plus 10, 30. And what is the value of total voltage? This is 20. So I will say this will be equal to 20 by 3. And also we know that the sum of these two voltages is equal to 20 volt. So if we'll cross verify 20 by 3 plus 40 by 3, it is equal to 60 by 3, and it is equal to 20 volts only. So this is the basic application of voltage division theorem over here. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. So I am just going to switch over current division theorem. Okay, current division theorem. So what does the current division theorem says? Now we will discuss the current division theorem. Okay, so in that context, if I'll say when the voltage division theorem is applicable for series circuit, similarly like that it is applicable for parallel circuits and for two resistances. So it means it is applicable for the two resistances. So what does this theorem says? Suppose a total voltage of V is applied across these two resistances whose values are R1 and R2, and a current I flows through this source V. So this current will come here and we'll find a junction over here. So current will divide into I1 and current will divide into I2. Okay, so what does this current division theorem says? Current division theorem says that the value of I1 is equal to, in total terms of current I, okay, and the value of I2 in terms of total current I. So here we have to just observe that I1 is the current across R1. So but we have to put the value of the resistance which is in front of R1. So resistance R2 is front of R1. So we'll say R2 upon sum of both the resistances, okay, R1 plus R2. Similarly, if I want to calculate I2, what is the resistance in front of this R2? This is R1 upon R1 plus R2. This is the some caution we have to take while putting the values of R2, I1 and I2 over here. Okay, now the important one more thing that I want to tell you, what is the proof of this one? So if I'll say the equivalent resistance from this circuit is equal to R equivalent, and we will say what is the value of R equivalent? It is R1, R2. When two resistance are in parallel, their equivalent resistance is taken as R1, R2 upon R1 plus R2. Okay, so this is the equivalent resistance, equivalent circuit of this one. So if I'll say V and current I flows over here. Okay, so what is the value of V? V is equal to I into R equivalent, and I will say I into R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. As I have already told you, the voltage across these two resistance will be V. Why it will be V? Say the voltage across these 2 points is V. Potential difference across these 2 points is V. This point and this point is same, as there is no element between them. This point and this point is same. Okay, as though no element is across here. So what we will say, we'll say generally, okay, the voltage across these two resistances V only. Okay, and that's why we are saying the voltages in parallel across each resistance remains same, and this point and this point and this point and this point, both the remain same, and this is the voltage V. Okay, so in the cases, because this point and this point is same, no element between them, no element between them. Okay, so we'll say the voltages are same. These are the same points. We can't consider that these are different points. That's why the voltage remains same over here. Okay, so if I'll say what is the value of current I1? Value of current I1 is equal to V upon R1. And when we will put the value of V from here, we can write I upon R1 into R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. Just I have substitute the value of V over here, and I will get, will cancel out R1 R1, and it will get R2 upon R1 plus R2 into total current I, into total current I. So that's what I have written. This is the proof of this one. And what is the value of I2? I2 is equal to V upon R2. So I will say, okay, substitute the value of V again from here. It is I upon R2 into R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. So this is R2, and I will say R1 upon R1 plus R2 into I. So these are the values of I1 and I2, and this is what I have written over here, and this is the proof. So this is the way what does the we have justified what is the current division theorem says over here. Just I am taking a small application. Okay, small application in the sense, if I'll say that this is two resistance in parallel, it has 10 ohm and this is 20 ohm, and a total current of 10 ampere flows in this circuit. Suppose the current I1 is, here is I1, and current in this branch is I2, and if I want to find out what is the value of I1, what is the value of I1? I1 is nothing. I will put the resistance which is in front of this one. So I will say 20 upon 10 plus 20. Okay, and total current 10 ampere. So I will say it is 20 upon 30 into 10. So it will become 20 by 3 ampere. Okay, and if I want to find out what is the value of I2, the value of I2, just I will take what is the resistance in front of this one. This is 10, and the sum of these two resistance 10 plus 20 into total 10, and again it will become 10 upon 30 into 10. So it is equal to 10 by 3. And also we know that the sum of these two currents is equal to 10 ampere, and if you want to verify, 20 by 3 plus 10 by 3, and it is equal to 30 by 3, and so it is equal to 10 ampere. So this is what we call the justification or just application of current division theorem over here. Okay, so now we have gone with the two concepts of current division theorem and voltage division theorem, and I hope you have understand what is current division theorem and voltage division theorem. Later on, when we are going to solve the numericals, just I will use these basic tools, okay, in the numericals directly only, and means I want to say how to apply these on into the numericals. That is the most basic important part over here. Okay, so in this series, just I am moving to one more application that is called concept of open circuit and short circuit. Okay, just I want to say what is open circuit. Ideally, what do you mean by open circuit, and ideally what do you mean by short circuit, and practically what is the meaning of short circuit, and practically what is the meaning of open circuit. So first I am taking what do you mean by open circuits. Okay, so when we are saying what do you mean by open circuits, okay, just I am taking a black box, it means what this is some circuit over here. Okay, it is network. I am not bothering how many voltage sources are there, how many current sources are there, how many resistances are there. I am not bothering about that, just I am consider it as a unit over here. Okay, so across these circuit, if I'll say these are the two output terminals, okay, and these two output terminals are said to be open circuit when there is no current flows across there, or we can say there is no load resistance over here. Okay, so these points are considered as open circuit. Okay, so ideally I will say that current is equal to 0. Okay, so what are the properties of open circuit? Okay, so this is the property of for this particular open circuit when it is open across these 2 points. Again I am telling you, what do you mean by open? Open means I have not put any load across these two terminals, these two output terminals. So the property of open circuit, the very first property is that voltage of any open point always exists. Okay, even if you are buying any battery from the market and you will put a voltmeter across its two terminal, it will give its value. The voltage value will be you will find across the voltmeter. So it means the open points, for the open points, voltage always exists. Okay, so voltage always exists across any open points. For any open points voltage exists, but for any ideal open point, okay, current is equal to 0, because current wants a closed path to flow. Okay, so the current is 0. I will say the current is 0. So if I will say what is the resistance of open circuit, the resistance of open circuit is given as V upon I. No matter what is the value of voltage, if the current is 0, it will say infinite. So for any ideal open circuit, we will say it has very large resistance. Very large resistance means if it has very large resistance, it is not possible there should be a flow of current in that particular circuit. That's why I'm saying I is equal to 0. So these are the basic properties of any open circuit. Okay, and when we are talking about short circuit, what is short circuit? Okay, so just we'll go with a small demonstration over here. What do you mean by short circuit? Okay, for that, just if I'll say, first I will discuss any properties over. What do you mean by the basics of short circuit? Short circuit means if this circuit is short, it means we can connect, we can join these 2 points by a zero resistance wire. Means resistance is equal to 0. Ideally, I know practically there is no resistance which has a value 0. Okay, but if I am saying ideally, I will say connect these 2 points with a resistance of 0 ohm. Okay, and practically if I will say with very less resistance. Okay, so what I will say, now it will become a closed path. Okay, so for any closed path, current starts flowing. Okay, and if the resistance is 0, it means that there is a flow of current. For any resistance 0, it means there is a flow of current. Okay, so I will say what are the properties of this particular short circuit. The particular this is short circuit is, I will say, current always exists. Current always exist in any short circuit. Okay, it has a very higher value. If the current exists, current has higher value. Why it has higher value? Because ideally we will say the resistance of short circuit is equal to 0, and if resistance is 0 but natural current will be very high, then what is the value of voltage? We will say V is equal to I into RSC, no matter what is the value of current. Okay, resistance is equal to 0, so we will say 0. So in future we will say for any short circuit the voltage will the for ideal short circuit the voltage has 0 value. So we will consider voltage as a 0 for our numerical problems also. Okay, so these are the particular value of particular properties of open circuits and short circuits. Okay, current has a very good property that it always follows a shortest path. When we are talking of shortest path, we were saying current always follows a path which has less resistance. Okay, similarly we are going with two roads. One roads has some barriers and some kinds of other things, other stuffs are putting on the road, stones and all other things are putting on the stone, and the another road which is smoothly, okay, which is smooth. So that is our tendency that we will follow the road which will be the smooth. Okay, and we always avoid going to the road which has more barriers and all those things, or more traffic and all those things. Similarly, the current has the same tendency to follow the shortest path. Shortest path, just I will demonstrate what do you mean by shortest path. Okay, so just I am taking a very simple example. Okay, suppose I am taking two resistances. Okay, when we are saying I am taking two resistances, I will say a 10 ampere current is flowing in these two resistances, and if I'll say the both the resistance have the same value, 100 ohm and 100 ohm. So this is the value of I1, this is the value of I2. Okay, and the resistance have the value 100 ohm. Okay, so if I'll apply the current division theorem and just I will take this resistance as a test resistance, means I will vary the value of resistance over here and I will fix the value of resistance over here. So if I will find out what is the value of I2. What is the value of I2 over here? Okay, so by applying current division theorem, what is the resistance in front of this resistance? If I am finding I2, I will take this particular resistance. Okay, so I will say 100 upon sum of these two resistances, and it will become 200. 100 plus 100, 200. And what is the value of total current? It is 10 ampere. And if I'll say, okay, so it will become 5 ampere. So value of current in I2 is 5 ampere. So what will be the value of I1? So in the very first case, when both the resistances are 100 and 100, okay, value of I2 is 5 ampere, and but natural the value of I1 is also 5 ampere, means the if the resistances are same, current divides equally over here. Okay, now the second case, if I'll take, in the second case, just I will take, okay, I will change the value of, this is my first case, this is my first case, and this is my second case. I will take the value of resistance, this resistance is 100 ohm, and I will reduce it to 50 ohm. Okay, so in this particular case, second case, if I am going to find out the value of I2, same current 10 ampere is flowing over here. Okay, so I want to find the value of I2. So the value of I2 is equal to, okay, what is the resistance in front of this resistance? 100. Sum of these two resistance, 100 plus 50, 150. Okay, and total current 10 ampere. Okay, so if I'll go for this one, so the value of I2 will become, I will say 20 by 3. Okay, so now 20 by 3 means 6.67, approximately 6.6 ampere current over here. Here the current was 5 ampere. As soon as I have reduced the resistance from 100 ohm to 50 ohm, the value of current increases, and it will be increased from 5 ampere to 6.6 ampere. It has been get increased. Okay, so now I will take a one more case, third case, in which just I will take the resistance as 10 ohm. This I have changed to 10 ohm, and by fixing it to 100 ohm, so what is the value of I2? Value of I2 in this particular case is taken as 100 upon sum of these two resistance, 110. What is the total current? 10 ampere. 10 ampere. Okay, so it will become 100 upon 11, so approximately 9.1 something around like that. Okay, so again, if I have said, I have again reduced the resistance from 50 ohm to 10 ohm, so the value of current will get increased. So what we are observing, that a resistance, as soon as the resistance has get decreased, the value of current increased, so resistance decrease, current increase over here. Ideally I will take, when I will put a short circuit. Short circuit means if I'll say a 0 ohm resistance is placed over here. Okay, 0 ohm resistance is placed over here. So what is the value of current? I2. I2 means, what is the resistance in front of this? 100 upon 100 plus 0 into total current 10 ampere. So what is the value? It is equal to 10 ampere. So it means that none of the current will flow in this particular resistance. In this case, current of 9.1 ampere is around 9 ampere is flowing over here, and 1 ampere is flowing over here. In this case 5 ampere, in this case 5 ampere. Okay, in this case the current will increase to 6.67 and the current will decrease to 3.37. In this case current will around 9 ampere, it may be more than something more than 9, but I will just taking approximate 9 ampere, and here it is 1 ampere. And in this particular case the current in this resistance will become 0. Okay, why? Because all the current which comes from here, it has been bypassed from this particular resistance. Okay, so this is the short circuit. Okay, whenever the resistance has been short circuited, the total current flows the shortest path, the current will flow from this particular resistance, and none of the current will flow from here. This is called bypassing of the current. Okay, so this is all about the concept of open circuit and short circuits. Okay, so in this series, just I am discussing one more and final tool over here, and that is particular called source transformation. I hope it has been clear to all of you what are the concepts of open circuit and short circuit. So just I am going to discuss source transformation over here. Okay, so just I am giving a small categorization of sources. Okay, so when we are talking about sources, sources has been divided into two parts. Okay, first one is voltage. You can say there are two types of. First one is called independent sources, and second one is called dependent sources. Later on we will discuss about, I will go through later on what are the what is the depth of dependent and independent sources, but right now just I am discussing the categorization. That's why I am telling you what are independent and what are dependent sources. Okay, so when we are saying independent sources, independent sources contains voltage source, okay, and current source. Similarly dependent also this is also voltage and current source. Okay, and what is the symbol we are using to uh, just to express what is independent voltage source? So this is the way we are, this is the voltage source and this is the current source, this is the current source. And again voltage source, what are dependent voltage source? For the dependent voltage source we will use this symbols over here. So this is voltage source. Okay, whenever you will find this type of voltage source in any circuit, you will say this is dependent voltage source. And when you are talking about current source, so this is dependent current sources. So this is the way we can find out, we can just identify what are dependent and what are independent voltage sources. The concept of dependent and independent voltage and current sources later on I will discuss when we will do the numericals. Okay, so this is the brief categorization of sources. So next I am going to tell you what is source transformation. Okay, source transformation means source transformation. What do you mean by source transformation? Okay, source transformation, we can transform any voltage source, any voltage source to current source. So this is called voltage to current source transformation. Okay, and the second one, we can also transform any current source, any current source to voltage source. Okay, so what are the requirements to transform? Okay, so whenever we are talking about any voltage source, okay, any voltage source, so we should remember a picture of voltage source in our mind. Okay, when we are talking of voltage source, what is the picture of voltage source? What should be the picture of voltage source in our mind? There should be a voltage source, there should be a voltage source, okay, and there is some resistance in series with it. This is the picture for the voltage source that we have to remember. And if it is the value of voltage source is V and resistance R, okay, so we can say this is the picture of any voltage source, this is the picture of any voltage source. And what is the picture of current source? Means voltage source and resistance in series. Okay, and what is the picture of current source? The picture of current source is there is a current source and there is a resistance parallel in it. Okay, resistance parallel in it. Okay, so the value of current source is I and this the value of resistance R. Okay, so if we want to transfer a voltage source into the current source, we should have at least this requirement. There should be a voltage source and there should be a resistance in the series. Then only we can transform it into any current source. Similarly, if we want to transfer the current source into the voltage source, we should have this picture. Okay, there is a current source and there should be a resistance in parallel to it. Then only we will transform current source into voltage source and voltage source into the current source. So this is the way, this is the basic requirement for the transformation. Now just I am going to tell you how we can transform. Oh, it is simple. If we will know these two pictures, so the transformation is not a big issue regarding that. Okay, so if I'll say there is a voltage source V, okay, and the resistance across these 2 points X and Y is R. Okay, so we can say it can be transformed into current source. How? Just I have already told you, make a current source, okay, and a resistance in parallel to it. The only thing is that what should be the direction of arrow? The direction of arrow should be, the arrowhead should be put in the direction of plus. See, say if I will say this is the plus terminal, so I will put wherever the plus terminal is there, I will put the direction of arrowhead in that particular case. If it was like that, this was plus terminal, this was minus terminal, I will put the direction of arrowhead like this. Okay, so this is what we call the source transformation. For the source transformation, suppose I am taking this one, so I will put, okay, I will keep the value of resistance same across these two terminals, same whatever be the value over here. So if it is R, then I will put the value here as R only. Okay, and what will be the value of this I, current source? Means after transformation of voltage source into the current source, what is the magnitude of this current source? I will say I will take the value of V divided by R. Okay, let's just elaborate it by taking an example. If V is equal to 10 volt and R is equal to 10 volt and 10 ohm. Okay, in that particular case, the value of this resistance is same. Whatever be the value of resistance here, it will be the same. Okay, so this is 10 ohm and what will be the value of this current source? 10 upon 10, it is equal to 1 ampere. So the magnitude of this current source is equal to 1 ampere only. Okay, similarly, if I want to transform a current source into a voltage source, how we are transferring the current source into a voltage source? Just I am taking, suppose there is a current source, okay, of this is value I, and for transformation we should have this picture. These are the two terminals X, Y, this is the resistance R over here. So what I am saying, if I want to transform, just I will put a voltage source and I will put this resistance in series to it. Okay, series to this voltage source. Then what will be the value of plus minus in this voltage source? If the arrowhead is here, I will put plus here and minus here. And similarly, if the arrowhead has this particular direction, I will put plus here and minus over here. So this is the way we can just put the directions of plus and minus over here. So the resistance has the same value. Then what is the value of this magnitude of this voltage source V? It should be equal to I multiplied by R. By taking a numerical value, if the I has 5 ampere and resistance is equal to 5 ohm, then I will put the value of resistance here will be the same. These are the two terminals X and Y. Value of resistance R is equal to 5 ohm and V is equal to IR, means V is equal to I. I has 5 and resistance is 5. So the magnitude of this voltage source is equal to 25 volt. So this is the way, while solving the numericals, we can apply this source transformation just to simplify the circuits, okay, to calculate any current or the potential drop or whatever we want to solve as per the requirement of the numericals. Okay, so this is the way we can change voltage source into current source or current source in the voltage source. So students, these are the basic 8 tools which are very much required if you want to go into the depth of circuit analysis. So again I am telling you what are the 8 tools: KVL, KCL, nodal, mesh, okay, then voltage division, current division, concept of open circuit and short circuit, and source transformation. These are the 8 things that we have been required, or these are the fundamentals to study any of the circuit parameters or circuit analysis or complex circuits were here. So I hope you have understand what are these basic tools. Okay, in my upcoming lectures I will deal with the numericals of nodal analysis and mesh analysis and some other tools also. Just I will elaborate by taking some numericals. So I hope you have understand all these numerical these tools. Okay, thank you very much.